In this video, we'll learn how to do the invisible provisional cast-on using an extra interchangeable cable as the lifeline. You'll need an extra interchangeable cable and some end caps so that your stitches don't end up falling off. To start the invisible provisional cast-on, we'll use our project yarn and create a slip knot. And then we're going to place that slip knot on the interchangeable cable. Now we're going to set up for the cast on. Grab your knitting needle in your dominant hand, and then also use your thumb and index finger to grab the slip knot on the interchangeable cable. Use your non-dominant hand to pick up both the project yarn and the interchangeable cable. You want your project yarn on top, going over your index finger, and your interchangeable cable on the bottom going over your thumb. The invisible provisional cast-on uses pairs of 2 motions to cast on pairs of stitches. You can cast on an odd or an even number. You just keep alternating which motions you're doing. The first motion creates a stitch on the needle that looks like a knit. To accomplish that, bring the needle towards you, underneath the interchangeable cable, and in between the interchangeable cable and the project yarn. Swing the needle over the project yarn and then underneath both strands all the way back to the beginning. This creates what looks like a knit stitch on the needle. To create what looks like a yarn over on the needle, we want to swing the needle behind the project yarn, underneath it, and up in between the project yarn and the interchangeable cable. We can continue casting on by alternating these 2 motions. Let me show you that twice more. Bring the needle towards you, underneath the interchangeable cable and up between. Bring it over the project yarn and underneath, all the way back to the front. To create a yarn over, bring the needle behind and underneath the project yarn. Let's go over that one more time. To create a knit stitch, bring the needle towards you and underneath the cable, in between that and the project yarn, over the project yarn, and all the way back to the front. To create what looks like a yarn over, bring the needle behind and underneath the project yarn. Continue these 2 motions until you cast on the desired number of stitches. Once you've cast on the desired number of stitches, it's time to turn your work and work the first row. When you're turning, make sure this first stitch is anchored, otherwise it likes to pop off. At this point, we're ready to work the first row. Because we ended with a yarn over, the yarn is coming in front of the interchangeable cable. In order to work the first stitch, we're going to want to bring that around to the front underneath the interchangeable cable. If we had ended with a knit stitch, the yarn would be behind the interchangeable cable, and we would want to bring it underneath, around to the front, and then over before we worked that first stitch. Once you've worked your first row, if you happen to put your slip knot on your needle instead of on the cable, you can go ahead and drop that slip knot. You won't need it until we pick up stitches at the end. In this video, we learned how to cast on using the invisible provisional cast on and using the interchangeable cable as a lifeline.